Welcome to the Relationship Podcast, where Andre, John, and Ryan discuss all relationship matters from an Asian American perspective. Our episodes can be found on iTunes, Google Play, YouTube, and TheRelationshiPodcast.com. Please silence your mobile devices because the main feature will begin right now. This episode of the Relationship Podcast is sponsored by Moze. Moze is the original single-source digital loyalty reward app that offers exclusive deals, awesome freebies, and loyalty reward stamps from your local businesses. Check them out today and download for free for iPhone at the App Store, Android on the Google Play Store, or at www.moseapp.com. What's up, guys? It's John from Relationship Podcast. Let me introduce you to my better halves.
Yo, what's up, everyone? This is Ryan.
What up? It's Drake.
And we have Lainey back again. Say hi, Lainey.
Hi, guys. Thanks for having me back.
Let's lead off on BBW. What?
Yeah, BBW.
Dang, John, you still on that? Come on, bro.
It was only like 10 minutes ago.
Hey, just say, man. You don't need to be on that.
Still on that.
Okay, so let's lead off on a positive note. What do you got, Ryan?
For once, John is on the receiving end because he can't help himself with the two ladies in the room. So it's nice to see him a little bit flustered. No, I'm just kidding. Actual positive note, I'll be able to.
Why'd you take that back? That you just devalued what you said?
Because I was actually trying to be nice to you, John. I guess I have two positive notes now. But anyway, yeah, I think for me, I'm just excited to see my lady this weekend. So, yeah.
Oh, what are you guys going to do? Some intimate stuff?
Why do you have to use that voice with me, John? That's kind of awkward,
you got
bro.
all close.
I know. I
had to make sure I pronounce intimate.
little intrusive. You need to calm your horses.
Like candles and stuff.
Well, when that stuff happens, you have to be intrusive.
Hey, man, I'm just saying. Anyway.
Okay, so Elaine, do you have anything positive?
As fuck.
I mean, I was gonna say this podcast, but I don't know anymore.
Because of John.
Oh my god.
This is a fight or flight response is coming out right now.
I know. You guys paid me for that. So, no, I feel like the positive is definitely being part of this podcast. It's always interesting to see, like other point of views, and especially with some really dope ass guys. And it's an honor, friends. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for having us.
Oh no, you're welcome.
Andre?
I mentioned marriage last episode, so I guess I'll talk about the other big thing.
It's like, oh, that's over. Wow.
Yeah, you know what you say?
That enthusiasm is just overwhelming.
You gotta say, top that?
I'm still married.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, that's a positive note.
Well, I like how you saved that one.
Yeah, I made it.
You talk that I got married.
I made it.
I got married.
I'm still married.
You should say I'm having a baby now.
Yeah. Ooh, they're trying.
Yeah.
Between the last episode and now.
That's the positive. That's trying to have a baby.
Lots of practice.
But that's not true though. Well, not now.
Whoa.
Not right now.
He's starting to get jobs, guys.
We want to.
He's going to edit that out, right?
No, we'll leave it in. I mean, leaving it in is how you have a baby, right?
Wow.
Is that what it is?
Oh,
you hold hands.
That's how it works.
You have to hold
Damn, I'm doing it wrong. I'm
call
putting it in the wrong spot then.
Wow. They call it a drip campaign for that reason, huh, Dre?
I don't even know what a drip campaign is. What?
Never mind. Moving on.
Yeah, but my actual positive note.
What is it?
Wait. Oh, are we really talking about drip campaign? What is it? I'm not Googling this. I refuse to. Don't need to turn safe search
I'm more
off.
interested in drip campaign.
Wait a minute. Jay, you're cool and all, but Ryan.
Hey, this is the role John is playing. I'm just picking up the slack because John's been messing up since the last episode. So, yeah.
Okay.
Wait, so
you're positive, Andre?
Yeah. Oh no, I started my new job and it's going pretty well so far. I don't know if I've really talked about this in previous episodes, but I've been doing sales and sales managerial roles for most of my life. And I've recently transitioned into doing project management and business development. So that's a welcome change and a definite like a title upgrade, I guess you can say. And I'm actually working for a company that I worked for in the past. So the transition period is going like butter. And that's definitely a good thing whenever starting a new job.
I mean, hasn't it been like a day? No, I'm just kidding.
That's been 2 days. Well, I mean, I guess the point is that it's like remarkably different from when I was working there before. Maybe.
No, it's fantastic.
Because when I was there, I was just like, I was what was my title? Oh, wholesale account manager. And so it was mainly sales, and like I didn't really have access to everything. But now that I'm doing more project management and taking on larger scale things for the company, I have a lot more access to stuff. I get to see the other managers when they're in their element, as opposed to nagging them to like, hey, can we get this done because my customer needs it. Instead, I'm the guy that like talks to the sales guy and like, all right, what do you need? Okay, we need to make miracles happen. All right, let's make it happen. So yeah.
Well, congrats on the company card, basically.
Oh,
yay!
All right.
Yeah, congrats.
Thank you.
All right, so Elaine's joining us again for part 2, and let's just get on into the first question. If your significant other's friends aren't loyal to their significant others, what does that make your partner? Do birds of a feather really flock together?
Such silence. They're like, well.
So I think
about all their shady friends.
It's really, you can't really generalize.
No, I don't know.
An individual, in an entire group, regardless of gender, or as shitty of a friend as John could be once in a while with his lewd comments. Shots fired.
Ooh,
Boom.
that's like deep, man.
But
you missed.
No, I didn't miss. I'm still on target. But the point that I'm making is, I think, you're not dating the entire group unless that's your prerogative. You're dating an individual of that group, and an individual doesn't represent the entire group. So if you know your partner really well and you feel like they aren't representative of how the rest of their friends act, then, kudos to you. But if you feel like that's sort of a foreshadowing for what's to be expected, then perhaps you may need to reevaluate. So, yeah, I don't think they always
you know where
together.
This question is going, right? Because, I mean, if you have a bunch of friends who are, drinking and doing other stuff, and you're part of that group, I mean, people are going to judge. They're going to think you do the same thing.
Yeah, John, I have a 12th grade plus reading comprehension level.
You're going to have to prove it to me. Can you post it so I can see?
I think the last episode should prove enough, John. But in any event, not to throw anyone under the bus, I think I've known plenty of people who have pretty shitty friends, but they themselves individually are pretty awesome people. So that's my ending quote on that.
Well, I mean, I feel, how, if, let's say you go to another country and then their culture is a little different, like, Japan, like slurping while you're eating your noodles is considered something culturally normal, where if you do that here, it's kind of like, what? You're so like rude or whatever.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
it's one of those things, like if you do have a group of friends who, are not that faithful, or they go somewhere and, are just, and if it's kind of like normal within that group, would you think like your partner, somehow finds himself or herself, that it's like normal almost? Or, if they do feel like, here's what I think. It's like, if a man or a woman, let's just say, because I'm a woman, let's say man, if a man is able to cheat on their partner, the person that's supposed to be down for you, to lay down with you in bed, to bear your children, just to literally be your person, if you can deceive and hurt another, like that person, wouldn't you think that they are capable of doing that to, I don't know, their friends or other people. So it's more so, I don't know why I'm asking you guys the questions, but
that's fine.
Yeah, that's what I kind of want to know, the guy's perspective maybe, because I feel even the greatest person, morally, whatnot, but if you start hanging out with a certain group, then maybe, for a while it just becomes the norm, or, just, I don't know, that's thoughts.
So sorry. Do you want to go ahead first?
Let me take a stab at it. I think the main concern is if you hang out with a certain group of people that have a certain outlook or a certain, I guess, societal norm when it comes to stuff like this, like infidelity and whatever, going out and partying and being a thought or whatever. Then I feel like I guess the fear is that whoever the subject is, whoever the person is, will find it more permissible to do it in their own life. Is that basically the gist of it, Elaine?
Yeah, like, because it's normal, and because they do it, and it's just, that's what you're like influenced and what you're surround yourself with.
Yeah, I can definitely see that outlook. I can definitely see where you're coming from with that. The only thing is, I know me as a person and I know my friends. And, if I were to just flip this around and, instead of like trying to analyze this when I'm looking at my wife or something like that, and actually look in my own life and my own friends, and while I do have,
I'm just kidding.
She's in the other room.
Hey, Dre's speaking the truth right now. Let the man speak. Let the man do his thing.
Yeah, and what was I saying?
Oh no, she is
scared. With your friends, you're flipping it around.
Oh yeah, if I was gonna flip it around and apply it to my own friends, and while I do try to surround myself with good people, I mean, for the most part, all of my really like my close circle of friends, they're all married with kids, or at least on that path. But at the same time, I mean, I can remember when I was younger and I guess I did, hang out with a less than savory bunch. And, I don't feel that impacted my life so much. Yeah, we would go out and party and do stuff like that. But when it came specifically to the question at hand, whether or not I was loyal to whoever it was that I was with, that never played a factor. I feel like that value, I guess supersedes, any other trouble that, you might run into with hanging out with people that are, of less than moral character, I guess.
Yeah, and to make things a lot simpler as a follow-up, if all your friends jumped off of a bridge, would you jump off of a bridge just to like follow suit?
Oh, of course.
Well, I know,
Ryan.
John,
I
already knew you would do that. I mean, that's a given. You're just a trend follower. But anyway, for me, I honestly, like, I think growing up, personally, I've always been sort of the odd man out. And I feel like when a lot of my friends did certain things, whether they were unsavory or not as cool, I usually went against the grain. And so, do I feel compelled just because I'm surrounded by all my guy friends who like to be playa? No, not really. I think, what it really boils down to is sort of the individual and what they want to do with themselves and their relationship at that point of their life. So, yeah.
So you shouldn't basically like look at a guy, or not technically, not like judge per se, but, I guess is your partner exception to the norm then? I guess the norm meaning the friends. You shouldn't judge him.
Exactly. And I think that's something that should be constantly communicated, right? Because that's sort of part of the growing pains in the growing process of your relationship with your partner, right? Because eventually one or two things are going to happen. You're going to have confirmation bias and saying like, oh, he's hanging out with all these players. Of course he's going to cheat on me. Self-fulfilling prophecy to some extent. Or, oh, wow, my boyfriend's been faithful to me for all these years despite all these scumbags around him. And yet, I don't know how lucky I am to deserve it. right? So it's just a matter
but
of
what if
go ahead.
No, it's just one of those things where like if your significant other sees their friend, you know, being unfaithful or doing questionable things,
right,
and then they have to kind of, I guess, lie about it too to, you know, their friend's significant others. Doesn't that change, like, you know, that's what I'm saying, it changes the character a little, no? Like, of a person that you are basically, you know, you're trying to be a homie, but...
Yeah, I see where you're coming from with this, and to, you know, to help the discussion move forward and give everybody else a chance to chime in. I think what it comes down to is, you know, you have to sort of surface that with your partner and to try to get proactive about it. Because if that's something you don't want in a partner, I think one of the first conversations you should have is, you know, quick question, babe. What if you have friends that are like this? What would you do? You know, and just point blank and see what's up. I mean, you know, if that's a legitimate concern, and I'm sure that's a concern for many people, then why not ask that directly and see what they would say and make the decision from there? So,
as far as my direct take on what was just said, I still think it comes back down to character, because I've done this too. Like if I had a friend that, you know, did his girl dirty or something like that, I'd be his boy. I wouldn't rat him out. And I don't know. I'm not a rat in general. So I learned that as a kid. But at the same time, I would come at that guy. I would come at my friend and be like, yo, dog, like you fucked up. You didn't make it right. Like I'm a hold, you know, like I'm a hold it down for you, but you need to come right. And, you know, that would be the way that I would see like an actual real friendship, you know, actually playing out. At the same time, I mean, if that person's already a scumbag and be like, you know, like, hey, yeah, like, oh, you cheated on, like, okay, I'll keep it a secret. And then he goes off and like, you know, like cheats on his girlfriend. Then it's like, dude, well, he was a scumbag to begin with. Like, what, there's no surprise there, you know, like, whatever person they were going into that friendship or relationship or whatever, it's probably going to be the same unless something changes after the fact.
Yep.
Nice. I mean, I'm like, all right, well, you guys are like good, solid men.
On paper.
On paper, yeah.
On paper.
Wives or girlfriends are listening. They're bad boys, honey.
Don't work with them anymore. No, I'm just...
Okay, so let's move on to a different scenario. Say you guys are on a bachelor and or bachelorette parties, and you guys are getting married to your partner because obviously you trust them. Obviously.
Ovulating.
Air quotes, trust. But something about the last hurrah can even make the loyalist people do the unlikeliest things. Any thoughts? THOT?
A lot of thoughts.
That was actually really good.
Not
I've been saving that one.
Yeah, it's perfect timing.
That's probably the best point John has made between these past two episodes. No, there are no THOT thoughts, but actual legitimate opinions and thoughts on this. I actually gave it some thought after Andre's discussion with us about his views of bachelor and bachelorette parties. And, you know, I think about it more and more, and to be quite frank, after hearing and experiencing a lot, I kind of more open to the idea of a joint bachelorette party than a separate one. And it's not to say that I wouldn't trust my partner. Yeah, this goes to you, John.
John
you were
doesn't say
asking
anything,
me.
and he goes like, boom.
Yeah, he's always like my opposite. Yeah, but anyway, it's not to say that I don't trust my partner doing an individual one. And again, when that time comes, we'll talk more about it. But for me, I just don't want to leave anything to chance. And, you know, it's not to say that I couldn't be trusted with it either, but I just prefer to not be in those sort of situations, especially if I'm with someone that I really want to be with. So that's just my take on it.
Well, I mean, like, you know, I mean, as a wedding planner, you know, I see a lot of couples get married.
Sure.
But I do frequent Vegas a lot or elsewhere.
Yeah.
There's this place, you know, it's there's these like magical creatures called strippers. You know what that is? No? Yeah.
Tell me more.
I'll draw it.
John is 12. He has no idea what that is.
He's like, what's that? No, but you know, you start, you know, you go and everyone just gets so hyped and it's like, oh, you know, it's her bachelorette, it's his bachelor, and everyone just gets all crazy. And you know, you go with friends and you're like, why are you here? And then the guys at the table are like, it's his bachelor party. And the next minute, like, his face is in someone's boobies or like they're gone or he's gone. Or,
she said boobies. Yeah.
I said boobies because I'm respectful
John, are we 12?
Of the lady lumps. Yes. I choose to say boobies.
Yeah.
I mean, you can say like tits, but I don't like that. I like boobies.
All right.
Lady lumps.
Lady lumps, tits, boobies. Continue.
Yeah. So, but then that's what I'm saying. Like, it's just, it's almost as if it's expected, which sucks because, you know, you see so much of it. You just see so much of it. Like, when you go out to a party, it's like, what's going on? It's bachelorette. All of a sudden, the bachelorette, you know, if she's cute or not, she gets so much extra attention.
Oh, yeah.
And something about maybe, you know, guys are all about, you know, attaining things that they can't have or something. Something just sparks and just, I don't know. I guess I've just seen some shit, but, I don't know. I was just like joking to my boyfriend. I was like, oh, honey, like I can't wait for you to go to Alaska for your bachelor party. He's like, what? Alaska, you know, party with those salmon. Hell yeah. Mm-hmm.
There must be at least one strip club.
Like Eskimo club. Oh, God. They have like nothing to take off except for their coat and their mittens. No, but I don't know. I just feel like when it just comes to that energy, people can get carried away. But that's just my opinion. And that joint thing is cute, but I think I would definitely want like because I've been to really raunchy bachelorette parties. And I've been to like, we're going to sit with us girls and tan like all day bachelorette parties, which are equally fun.
Right.
But
so I think
so we just tan all day?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we live in a nice house and we tanned all day.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Was that right?
Yeah.
No, it's all good. No, all I was gonna say is to not really again try to put someone on blast, John. A source named Vegas shared with me in his experience that the bachelorette parties he helped service, again, like these are exactly like you said, people who are about to get married, who have this energy, and they do all kinds of stuff even though they're about to get married, like literally the next day. And so that really kind of shed some light on it because I used to be someone who was like, yeah, I want to have a bachelor party and my future wife will have one. But after hearing all that, I don't know if it's for me. And I don't, you know, I think I would.
Lies.
Yeah.
Lies,
just don't be salty, John.
I know, right?
No. You know, I think John's just salty because I didn't fulfill his bachelor party dreams. But the point being is like, I don't know if I could get down with that anymore. And, you know, that's why I feel the way I feel.
So you would have, but not anymore because you found somebody that, you know, makes you just want to be with them. Oh, God.
Exactly. So, yeah.
What about you, Mr. Hubby Dre?
Yeah.
Don't even ask about his bachelor
party. He's like,
party.
I love golfing.
No, ask. Please ask.
Sipping.
Go ahead.
Can you ask him about his bachelor party?
Tell me the deets on your bachelor party. Did you get wild?
Yeah, so wild I didn't even go.
Dre, you're welcome. Mm-hmm.
What?
I didn't have one. I didn't have a bachelor party because I think it's stupid. I made a whole blog post about it.
I need to take notes from your wife.
And I disappointed a lot of people apparently.
He wants you to talk to her boyfriend, by the way.
Yeah.
Oh, I know. Yeah. We could arrange that. He's gonna hate me after.
And your girl had a bachelorette party though, right?
She had two.
Damn, look at that.
She had one in Vegas and one in Mexico somewhere.
take some notes from Janice.
I need to talk to her.
Yeah. Well, obviously, I trust her, and I don't have any issues. I mean, regardless of stories you hear, I don't. I hate to keep saying this, but like I mentioned in previous episodes, I don't transfer like mistrust from person to person. Everything that she's, everything that we've experienced together in the past, the past 8 years that we've been dating has led me to believe that she wouldn't do anything like that. It's not something that I worry about even. It wasn't even something that I was thinking about. The only thing that sucked was that I was like bored for like 2 weekends, cause we live together.
I love it. Shut up, John.
John's throwing up in his mouth right now because he has no more bachelor parties to go to.
Thanks for the play-by-play, Ryan.
You're welcome.
Like
his wedding was the bachelor party.
Not Steve Madden. What's his name? The John Madden. Steve Madden.
Yeah.
Fucking shoemaker. What was I gonna say? Yeah. The main reason I didn't have a bachelor party was because I think I don't knock anybody for having one, but for me it's kind of dumb. I don't see the point in it. Everything that I do has to have a reason. And I looked into it, and the history of bachelor parties is pretty dumb. Like, it's just like, like used to get stolen away, by like a group of friends or whatever, before you got married. And, they would just like have like one last fling or whatever like that. And I'm like, I don't need that. First of all, I was like, so what I ended up thinking up, and this is actually something that I've still kind of have to work out with my best man. What we're planning on doing is having kind of like, I think probably Vegas just because it's easiest. But everyone can go. Like everyone, like my groomsmen's wives and stuff like that. If they want to bring their kids, sure, why not? More merrier. And it'd be something that I would treat them to, as a thank you for being, part of my wedding and being there for me. And so, I mean, the whole point of, like a normal bachelor party is for everyone to get you fucked up. But I was like, dude, like, I don't need that. I'm actually more excited to be in that next, stage of my life instead of like trying to dwell on like my single life or whatever. Cause it's like, well, I wouldn't be getting married if I really wanted to like, get it all out. It's like, I asked her to marry me because I'm good. Like, this is where I want to be. And let's just, get on and start a family or whatever. Just do, start our the next phase of our lives together.
Dre.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a brother?
No, I have a sister.
You're with a good man right now.
I'm like, wait a minute. No, this is another level. I love my boyfriend, but this is another level. And I respect it.
I have a sister and she's married,
seriously.
so
I mean,
sorry.
Sorry.
Damn it.
Sorry, Elaine's boyfriend.
But it's no, I love my boyfriend. He's great. But I think it's that itself is like very manly, I think, for a guy, because they're like, I'm not gonna bachelor party, like, don't be a bitch or whatever. But
I got that a lot.
That's something John would say.
Exactly.
I got that a lot.
I swear to God,
Yeah.
John probably like played it on loop for you. But
Yep.
I feel like it's so manly that you're like, why do I need to do it? I'm good. I found my woman. I think that itself is an amazing quality that we don't find these days in men. So I feel like some guys should take some notes from him. He's married and he's happy.
Why are you looking at me?
Yeah, we're looking at you, John.
So funny.
Okay. So Elaine, what's your take on married men not wearing their bands?
Ooh.
Boom.
Well, my dad doesn't wear a band, but my mom doesn't either.
Oh, so it's cool.
I mean, they're swingers. I'm just kidding.
Whoa.
No, I'm just kidding. No, I grew up in a household where my parents didn't wear rings or bands, but I actually was involved in this weird thing. I met this guy online a long time ago, and we went on a few dates, but it was just weird, but it never got quote unquote intimate. It was more so like just dinners and whatnot, but it was just weird. He always made excuses, and it turns out he was married. And so then, he wouldn't, he doesn't have a wedding band, and there's no like tan lines or anything, but I saw photos of him with his family, and he had his ring on, which means he had to take it off before he would come see me. Exactly. So I think if you exchange rings at the altar, I mean, my parents, they didn't have a choice. They sold it to buy me diapers and, formula, and they just never thought it was a priority afterwards. But I think if you exchange it at the altar, it's a custom, why not? Why do you not want to wear it? Why do the woman have to wear it?
If it's not custom from where you're from, that's why I don't wear mine. So this may be something that you might not like me as much for. I don't wear my wedding band.
Oh.
But you're so loyal. I don't care if you don't wear it. You're an exception to the rule. I got your back, Andre.
And that's kind of that's actually the exact point. If you don't wear your wedding band, then the onus is on you to be more responsible and hey, you're not wearing your wedding band, so there will be times where someone will try to holler, and you have to be the bigger person and be like, nah, I'm married. I just choose not to wear a ring, and just be outright, as opposed to oh yeah, so what you doing? You have more of a responsibility when you do it. But as long as you have that outlook, I feel like it should be okay. Now, if it was kind of like a huge issue with my wife, then I probably would put it on. But
yeah, I was just about to ask what your wife thought about it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's kind of funny too, because the first 2 days that we were married, we both forgot to wear our rings. So I was like, all right, this is fine. The worst married couple ever. Yeah, we literally left the house and we looked at each other's hands and we're like, that was kind of pointless. Said all that shit in front of a bunch of people, and we're not even wearing them anymore. But I feel like the other factor is that it's not cultural for me. My parents never wore a ring because they didn't go to the altar and put anything on. I think my mom might have had an engagement ring, but she never wore it. But yeah, and it's because I'm Muslim, or I grew up Muslim, and so my parents, we don't have that in neither. Actually, specifically in Islamic culture, in Indonesia, there are, it's become kind of a cultural thing. I don't think it's historically a cultural thing. I think it was something, I want to say that it's a Western thing, that was adopted maybe, a few generations back. So it's not really a huge deal over there. And I mean, I think that kind of impacted my outlook on the whole thing as well. It's I've seen my entire family, get along just fine without their wedding bands. I don't think or wearing a wedding band. And I don't feel like it's indicative of anything. I feel like if you're a responsible enough person, that's all that matters.
It's the principle. I like that.
All right. So let's move on to marriage.
Perfect segue, John. Congrats. You're 2 for 2.
So, does marriage really change things for couples? You guys are great together as a couple, so the next step obviously is to make it official. Then you have kids and your life isn't the same anymore.
Lots of things aren't the same anymore.
So is it wrong or still taboo to want a life partner and children without making it government official?
So I think there's 2 components to this to unpack. Again, sorry for borrowing your mannerisms, Dre, but I felt it was necessary. The first thing is, the whole couple dynamic. I feel like if you already know your partner really well enough and you've sort of over communicated to each other what your expectations are while you're in the relationship, and then after you get married, with the official documentation or rings, then there should be no surprises, right? But I do feel like in the same context, the reason why things do not work out is because there are still things that weren't unpacked prior to the official, ceremony of getting married with rings or any other religious affiliations. Is it wrong? No. I've met people who never had rings, like Dre, or never had a marriage, like a formal wedding, but they remained together for 25 years. So yeah, I think it all comes back down to the character and sort of how that kind of plays out. That's it.
Well, I mean, I feel like marriage, a lot of people do put a lot of weight on the term and the entire thing because it's, you know, like you have to go out of your way to be like, we're together, you know?
Right.
And some people don't work well under pressure sometimes, you know? Maybe putting that extra pressure can make people do like weird things that they normally wouldn't do.
Sure.
And I mean, I believe in marriage, I feel like, but I also have that side. I'm like, man, like, why do we have to complicate things? But it's also tradition, and I have traditional values when it comes to that. But I think when it comes to kids, oh my gosh, like, how do you even expect, like, you can't expect it, you know? It's like, the nicest people, when they have a kid, it's like, can be like the most paranoid or like the most like crabbiest, because it's something that, you know, when the last podcast, we talked about like, you know, being with somebody, the breaking point is going through like the hardships or something and seeing what they can do to come out of it or, you know, to help solve a problem. But, as you know, I agree with you, Ryan, that I don't think it's wrong or weird if a couple decides to just stay as life partners. I think, you know, it's as equal as husband and wife basically, and as long as their kids grow up in a happy household, there's nothing wrong with it. Like gay marriage, people make this whole deal about it, but you know, everyone's human. They can love. Love is a universal thing. Yeah. But, you know, I guess like kids and marriage and, you know, what can you do? Like, I'm a problem solver. I like to kind of figure out what to do. So some people are like, well, why don't you live together before? But what about my traditional values? You know, I can, you know, it's like maybe for my parents, they're really chill. I play beer pong with my dad. My mom is like, she's just so great. Everyone loves my parents, but they are extremely against living together before marriage. And these days, everyone does it, you know? And even my boyfriend is like, that's just a factor. We need to live together beforehand, or you know, things like that. Just so that if you get married and you're like, wait, this guy is a slob, or wait, this girl, like, bedtime ritual is insanity, or, you know, it's just like something that could, you know, maybe like break, I guess, a relationship after it's like official, you know?
But
so, I mean,
yeah, but that's exactly why I said it comes back to sort of the level of communication, or rather the over communication of those standards, right? If you don't feel like you could live with this person because you don't want to live with them before marriage, then you just got to let them know and just be like, hey, my evening ritual will take me more than 3 hours. You cool with that? Right? And I know it sounds very oversimplistic hearing it from me in that context, but I think those are the type of things that have to be unpacked and sort of discussed before you guys take the next step. But that's, again, just my perspective.
Well, the thing is, I think, I mean, yeah, these things can be discussed, but living it is completely different than discussing it. Sure.
And then at that point, you're going to have to, you know, weigh that option out. Like, is it worth it? Right? Like, if you can't experience that dynamic of living together, then is it worth still pursuing? So,
like, I have a cousin. I don't even talk to her, and she's like super old and probably never ever listen to this, but she got married. So, you know, you'd be surprised. Women, the lengths that they would go for a ring. So sometimes, you know, like they give you, like a lot of the times in a relationship, they'll give you the best face, the best smooth, the best this. Sure. You know what I mean? But, so I had a cousin. She was like so beautiful, like from a great family, like, you know, probably like the dream girl. This guy like married her, and then I hear later they got divorced, and just no one would talk about why. And later I found out is like the guy is like, I can't live with her. She's a slob. She doesn't know how to cook, and who the hell has been cooking my food? you know,
Wow.
or like it was a lie. It was a lie.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that's why it's just like, I think, you know, living together definitely is important, but where does it stop with the traditional values? But Dre, your thoughts? I love hearing Dre talk about his thoughts.
Yeah, Jay.
I know, Dre.
Yeah.
He's all
Dre's
like,
the best.
no ring Dre.
Mr. No ring, married, loyal Dre.
All right, you're up, Dre.
We're all fawning over here about the ladies are about the Dre.
Wait, how many are there? What the hell?
Just two. It's just two.
Just two. Okay, I can manage
shit,
to get through
Janice,
my
stop
answer
Don't matter.
without flubbing like John. Try to figure out what I should kind of address first. Because I grew up with traditional values, but I kind of ended up formulating my own after, you know, experiencing things for myself. Do I think that living together is necessary? I want to say no, but at the same time, I would strongly recommend it. I would honestly strongly recommend it. So you learn a lot about a person from two things: from when you travel with them and when you live with them. A lot of things that were hidden before come out, and ideally, you'd want to find someone that's basically the same, you know, in any scenario, and that's basically the same thing when it comes to marriage. Like you should be looking at marriage as just, you know, a stepping point for the next phase you want to get into, whether it's, you know, building a fortune together, building your lives together, building a family together, for example. That's all it really should be. It shouldn't necessarily change anything within the relationship dynamic itself. If you're thinking it will, then there's a good chance that that marriage is going to fail. And I know a lot of people who, you know, like think that like the marriage is going to save, you know, the relationship, and it won't. If anything, there is a possibility that having kids will. I'm not saying that if you get into a fight, you should, like, you know, have a kid and think that's going to solve everything.
That'll save it.
Yeah.
But it'd be fun. It'll be fun,
Sounds
though.
like something John would do.
But
And making up.
right. But kids
Literally.
is definitely a factor in changing people's lives. Absolutely. When you were, you know, when a child's life or like another human being's life is your either shared responsibility or sole responsibility. If you, well, I hate to use this gender qualifier, but if you man up and take that responsibility, then more often than times than not, something is going to change within you. I guess for better or for worse. For all my friends that have ever not ever, but like all my friends that have started their families already, they tell me that, you know, not especially after I got married, they're like, dude, next step is kids. If you thought this was crazy, and you know, that's nothing until you have kids. And so yeah, that one I would say is a little bit more monumental as far as, you know, creating change in your life. As far as whether it's wrong or still taboo to, you know, be with someone forever and not get married, or like not get married, or, you know, make it government official or whatever. As far as the taboo part, I don't think it's necessarily taboo as far as American society or American culture is. It may be taboo within, you know, like certain, you know, familial situations, like within maybe a smaller community or your own family, for example, then yeah, maybe. But I don't think as a whole, I think it's become pretty kind of a normal thing, to even start, you know, entire families, and never get married. Is it wrong though? I don't know if wrong is the right word. 'Cause there is a sense, there is a little, there's a tinge of, I don't know. What is the best word to use? Basically, there are some extra benefits to making a government official as opposed to, you know, just kind of winging it. Because with the actual marriage, you get next of kin rights, you get visitation rights, you get inheritance rights in case somebody, your partner passes away. That kind of stuff, like, it's kind of like more of like a planning for the future thing. Like, is it wrong to not get health insurance? No, not necessarily, but it's kind of irresponsible. Like if shit happens, then you're not like the most prepared as you can be to handle that situation. And that's kind of the way I see it. So are people wrong in doing it? Absolutely not. But if you're at that place and you do want to be in kind of a good place when things don't go your way, I feel like it would be in your best interest. Put it that way.
So, backup insurance money. Yeah? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Duh.
Wow.
Joint account, backup insurance money.
Watch out, girlfriend.
All right. Well, so when you guys are on a business trip, and if you're dating or married to someone who goes on numerous business trips or vice versa, what do you guys do to stay connected and really maintain the trust?
So,
Ryan,
as someone who used to be a traveling consultant, I think the biggest factor comes back to choice of communication. Do you like texting? Do you like sexting? Do you like emails? Do you like FaceTime? Whatever it is, whatever your flavor is.
wait, so your top two was sexting, number two.
No, I just threw that in there then
email.
And then C-mail.
I'm just throwing different types of communication because everybody does it, right? According to you, John, 2 episodes ago. But what I'm trying to say is, whatever your flavor of communication, you do that with the person you really connect with and want to be with. So, whatever you guys decide on doing, just do it and maintain it, because that's a vital part to just kind of keeping the relationship, fresh and alive and whatnot.
Well, I don't know. You see people who do travel get into some trouble, like that one Sahausen different area goes. You notice that, athletes, pilots, businessmen, like, it's just such a... I'm like, you're gone for such a period of time. Are you really that lonely? Like, relax. Like, watch your show and shut up and go to bed. Why do you need to have sex in it? Is it because you're in a hotel? Like, I don't understand.
That's why they call it a hotel.
Is it a hotel? What's a motel? That's a whole different... No, I think that's something that I personally would never understand is, and I'm fairly open, and I think...
Fairly open in what manner? No.
Fairly open and, I'm not like a prude, I'll be like, dude, you do you, as long as it's not affecting me, that's fine, whatever. But I feel like, you should always have your man or woman on Skype. I'm just kidding. I think it's literally...
No, she's not.
I'm kind of, just at all times, during the meeting, during the Uber ride, during dinner, at all times. No, I mean, it's one of those things where, it's, comes down to you trusting your partner. Like, but then again, you just never know a person. The same way about bachelorette parties, you just never know what people would do because they're not in their, like, normal, like, realm. But I would just say to stay connected, maintain the trust is obviously communication, and link his phone to your iPad.
Yay!
Find my iPhone.
Extra precautions, much?
You don't find your iPhone, just to iTunes.
Yeah.
No, but...
Dang. Got him on house arrest, huh, Elaine? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
No,
why'd you buy this whole jar of Vaseline on Amazon Prime?
What are these condoms? I think it's it definitely comes down to just communications, but it does come down, I feel like a lot of people are susceptible to be unfaithful when they are away from home so long. And I just don't understand why.
Yeah, I got nothing on that. I don't know why people do that. I really don't.
I just don't. Is it a thing?
And I've gone on really long business trips. I mean, these guys know. When just last year I was gone for like a whole month. There was a period in time where I was gone for like what was I gone? I think I was gone for a month, came back for like a week, left for another month. I think by the time it was like June of like 2012 or something like that, I had been overseas longer than I've been in the US.
Wow.
And so I was already with my wife back then. And that that definitely sucked, because I mean, cell phone service wasn't as robust as it is now. I don't think WhatsApp and like mobile Skype and all that stuff had really been fleshed out yet. So, and then obviously I can't text, so we basically just had an email during those first few trips. Eventually, as you know, Hangouts and Skype kind of became a little bit more stable. We started switching over to that, and then now I have free unlimited, I pay for it technically, but I have unlimited roaming for text basically anywhere I go. So there's always a way for me to be reached wherever in the world I am. And so when speaking of that, I think the main key is not only communication but assurance. It's not just that you're just, you know, replying or whatever. It's like I guess it's more of a skill that you need to have, or something that you need to build with your partner, like the ability to be able to let them know, like, hey, I'm good over here. Like, not only like I'm good, like I'm not gonna, you know, fuck with our relationship, but like, hey, I'm good, like I'm doing well, I'm doing okay, like with work, in a way that they'll be able to pick up with it and not have to worry about you on, you know, any other front. Cause I feel like sometimes it comes in a lot of different forms, right? It's not just like being unfaithful. It's like, hey, like he's out there for like a month or 2 months or whatever. Like, I hope it's worth it. Like, I hope he gets done what he needs to get done. What if like he fails and he has to leave for, you know, however long, and that adds stress. And then you start, you know, putting scenarios into your own head. Like, oh yeah, he's probably, you know, screwing around with those like dick girls and whatever, like in Thailand, and like you know, like
BBW girls overseas.
I don't mean to throw our you know, trans audience under the bus, but you know, like you never, those kind of thoughts are like something that some things that people, you know, just they pop up, and they're sometimes uncontrollable, and so it's I guess partly a learning process for both parties to be able to figure out, like, hey, I can't be with you to hold your hand. I have to be able to communicate that I'm okay. I'm not worried about you. You're not worried about me, so that when we're apart, we can get done the stuff that we need to get done.
Yeah. I think what you said about assurance is extremely, extremely important. Whether a person is insecure or just all about themselves. But I think that, assurance, I think that does a lot for, I think, a couple.
Yeah, actually, in one of the articles I posted, one's 12 tips on how to maintain a healthy relationship while traveling for work, and the other one is how to deal with your partner's constantly travel. They mention communication a lot, especially if you guys have appointments to talk, then you shouldn't break those appointments. Because, you know, people start wondering what happened, what's going on, you know? So their assurance kind of decreases, right? Mm-hmm. And also, what was the other thing? Always keep each other in the loop on what's going on. That way, you know, they have an idea of where you're at, and, you know, it just builds on the assurance that you guys have, and knowing what each other is doing and still being part of each other's lives, even though you're not in close proximity. So I thought those were great tips.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, John, you're so wise.
I know. Where did this
come
sage advice come from? Where was all the filth?
He's like a savant.
I know.
Yeah, that's great.
I know.
No,
too bad
all the sources.
Too bad all my insurance is gonna go down the drain after this with John. So.
All right. So, okay, more about you, Dr. Events. Do you have anything you want to talk about, promote?
I feel like I'm just someone who does like walk the journey of an entire wedding planning, process. I do spend a lot of time with couples, and it's very intimate, Your face.
Bow, chicka, bow, wow.
Us all three of us. No, but I just see that some people get married because they've been together for a while and it's like the next, the best thing to do and whatnot. And, I just feel like it is a very expensive day. And it's a very emotional, and very mentally like just, it's tiring, for everyone because they want everything to be perfect. They have hundreds of people to accommodate. And I feel like just, as a professional and someone who does value marriage, just take your time. That's why for me, everyone's just like, when are you getting married? I just think everyone just should take their time to make sure they are with the partner to preserve the sanctity of marriage. And if you do need a wedding planner, I feel like wedding planners are almost like, we should get like therapy, like licenses.
You should.
Yeah.
So.
We sit there and I'm like, you guys, so what just happened? Yeah. How do you feel? And what do you say to that? And so, I've done a lot of those. But, I just think marriage is beautiful. Weddings are awesome. Make sure it's with somebody that you want to spend the rest of your life with. And when you do find that person, give me a ring. Hello at drxevents.com. And people do definitely get a misconception of wedding planners, coordinators. There's a price tag to our services, but we are here to help you, to keep you within your budget. And we do have special arrangements with vendors. We call it frienders, to make sure, we get prices and rates and that most people wouldn't be able to get. So we are here to help. We're not here to, most of us, at least we are. I feel like find a good planner and you'll have a very like smooth wedding planning process and a beautiful wedding. So Dr. Events is here for you. And thank you guys so much for having me on. It was so much fun. My goodness.
Yeah. Thanks for being with us. Yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully you could join us again. I'm kind of enjoying this spectrum for now. So yeah, definitely.
Awesome.
All right. Well, thank you again, Dr. Events, Elaine, for coming on our show. And maybe in the near future, you'll want to come back on again.
Thank you.
So this ends our podcast. I hope everyone enjoys it. And if you guys want to follow us on Twitter, we are at the R Podcast. You can email us at TheRelationshipPodcast@gmail.com. Our IG is The Relationship Podcast. We have a YouTube and you can search in our copy and also, or just look up The Relationship Podcast. We have a Patreon account. If you feel the need to want to donate, we encourage you to do so. And once again, we also have our TRP columns. I know 2 of them will be adjusting their names, but those columns will still be there. And thank you again for there's a lot of choices for podcasts, and we appreciate that you listen to ours. Everyone have a good night.
Later, everybody.
Peace.
Bye.
This is our non-salty disclaimer. We here at the Relationship Podcast do not discriminate based on race, sexual orientation, income levels, political affiliation, religion, and or creeds. These opinions are solely based on our own unique experiences, and they are not the exception. We are always open to everyone's personal life experiences that are being shared, and at the end of the day, we can always agree to disagree. So please enjoy our podcast.
No problem. Just rush hour.